In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you details of a stock with $100 million catalyst, and for MMAT and MMTLP, we're going to be looking at, amongst other things, a 4,000% increase in price. So before we get started, let's have a look at what's happening in the market. So first of all, from Yahoo Finance, we can see that Tesla and Alphabet earnings are obviously the highlight of this week. And what else do we need to know this week? So in terms of key dates, we can see in terms of economic data, jobless claims is going to be announced on Thursday. Manufacturing PMI are also on Thursday, and I think the interesting one for me is the Trump tariff deadline also to be focused on, and the Powell speech also due this week. One thing I'd like to say with regard to the topic of Jerome Powell, I posted earlier that Jerome, do not act surprised, give the markets what they need, and that is an interest rate cut, and I do believe there is increasing pressure on him. So from the Wall Street Journal, we can see here that Netflix is running out of the world to conquer. So we have the market value now exceeding $500 billion, and earnings was good, but I think the reaction of the stock was a little bit muted. So if we look at earnings going ahead this week, a huge week for earnings. We will be keeping an eye on, amongst others, Verizon, Coca-Cola, SAP, Enphase Energy, Tesla, Alphabet, Intel, and many more. And what I would also like to share with you is some details of stock news shared in the channel, including some important insider buys and also important in earnings from SAAB, that was up over 13%, OPEN, that was up over 18% with regard to unusual option activity. We also shared news of GRAB, and I think it potentially is on a breakout, so go ahead and check out the previous video for GRAB, and XYZ also due to obviously join the Nasdaq, so keep an eye on some of those stocks. I'd like to now share details of a stock with $100 million catalyst. This is ticker symbol DEVS, also known as DevvStream. So let's get started by having a look at a corporate overview. This company was founded in 2021. It's a leading carbon management firm specializing in the development, investment, and sale of environmental assets, energy transition, and innovative carbon management solutions. So they operate across 3 strategic domains, and these include an offset portfolio consisting of nature-based, tech-based, and carbon sequestering credits for immediate sale to corporations, governments seeking to offset their most difficult to reduce emissions. So that's certainly positive for the environment. Their project investments, acquisitions, industry consolidation to extend the company's reach, and that's number 2. And the third aspect of them is project development, where the company serves as a project manager for eligible activities such as EV charging or renewable energy. So certainly a positive company there. But if we have a look at one of the reasons why I am quite bullish on DEVS, also known as DevvStream Corporation, and if we have a look at the chart for the previous close of play on Friday, it was up over 17.3% at 43 cents with a market cap of 14.52 million. But if we also now have a look at the 5-day chart, and the 5-day chart, we can see it was up over 27.99%. So certainly it is currently in very good momentum. And what I'd now like to do is give a shout out to a post from Animal, who posted with regard to DevvStream, and he stated news pending on $100 million funding for the new JV MOU signed in May, and the newly registered warrants also at 87 cents and $1.52. So an incentive to push this higher with volume, short-term trade until July 28th, and that is going to be an important vote. 20 million votes, so it's certainly 20 million float, but it still moves big. So certainly this is a potential. The potential in this stock is certainly to move very quick. So we can see in the image share, the company is expected to combine operational and technical expertise with Fayafi's capital resources. So we're going to look at details of this agreement shortly, but what I'd now like to do is share with you some DD research from Microcap Daily with regard to DevvStream. And what we can see here is this is the first and only pure play carbon credit company to list on a major US exchange. So basically that means they have no competitors. So they currently have more than 140 projects in the pipeline, more than a dozen signed contracts representing an opportunity to generate 30 million plus credits per year. So let's have a look at also some additional DD shared on the website, and we can see they've just also signed a game-changing memorandum with Fayafi Investments. So we're now focusing on this $100 million catalyst. And this is one of the UAE's most forward-thinking investment platforms. And this is to launch a global giant venture called Fayafi and DevvStream Green Ventures. So this venture is backed by initial funding of $100 million. So it's built to deploy capital and climate infrastructure projects around the world. So DevvStream will own 20% of the venture, so that's quite significant. And with the structure, the company will get direct access to the Middle East. And we do know that that is a region with a massive need for carbon credits, and it's long overdue. So obviously, with over 100 projects currently in the pipeline, DevvStream's momentum doesn't appear to be slowing down anytime soon, and that's why we have seen positive momentum in the chart. So the carbon market, if we look at the value, it's already a $1 trillion market according to many reports, and this is also expected to double over the next 4 years or so. But let's have a look at the carbon credit market size 2024 to 2034 in USD billion dollars, and obviously this is a projection in terms of where we can see, and we can certainly see exponential growth and potential market size in excess of 16 billion for 2034. So certainly growing year by year. From their recent investor presentation, we can also see that DevvStream is the first and only carbon company on any major US exchange, as just stated, and we can see the trust is critical to inspiring investor confidence in carbon markets. So the company is unique and in an elevated position within the carbon space, and the company standing in the industry results in high volume of strong inbound leads. So I think the potential and the growth for the future is very, very strong. So let's now have a look at the Monroe project. So there's a 50% equity stake in the Monroe project. So the project revenues are expected to be generated from storage fees. We also have up to 260 million for 45Q tax credits, sale of 260 million carbon credits. So certainly this is positive. So the 45Q tax credits are transferable and are valued up to $85 per ton of CO2 stored. Let's now have a look at some important news with regard to IREC. Also from the investor presentation, and we can see last year that Dev announced that they will be diversifying into revenue streams to include renewable energy certificates known as IREC. So this is generated when a power plant generates 1 MWh of renewable energy. It can then be sold to companies that need them to maintain their commitments to renewable energy, which is certainly positive across the world. So heavyweight businesses, including the top 7, such as Apple, Google, Microsoft, and as well as that Samsung, have commitments to use 100% renewable energy. So that's something they are working on. DevvStream has secured exclusive agreements with Asia's renewable market. So they are in there and they are making movements in this sector very, very positively. So another news release I'd like to share with you for recently was DevvStream boost carbon offset initiative through e-commerce platform, e-commerce partnerships. So they're pairing with e-commerce agencies, technology integrators, and 3PL providers to provide adoption of the DPivot carbon offset tool across Shopify storefronts. So the new agreement with Zing, that's an e-commerce marketing software company, and Minimus Fulfillment, that's 3PL celebrity and creator brands company, strengthens DevvStream's leadership in the carbon offset market. So that's positive. So they're now positioned to drive rapid scale across the Shopify ecosystem. We know how huge Shopify is, which powers approximately 28% of online stores in the United States, and it also provides the company with a strong sales channel for its inventory of several million high quality carbon credits. So positive there, certainly. What I'd now like to focus on with you is background in terms of the leadership and the people behind the company. We can see the headline from the presentation: leadership with experience in technology and ECG. So the CEO, Sonny Trent, has got 25 years experience in technology, CTO 30 years impact tech, the Chief Operating Officer, Chris Merkel, 25 years experience in business development, Chief Revenue Officer Brian Wendt, 15 years experience as a co-founder, executive and investor in sustainability and blockchain technologies. David Goetz, Chief CFO, Chief Financial Officer, 22 years experience in public accounting, taxation and business advisory. And the Chairman of the Board brings nearly 30 years experience of private equity investment, board experience across more than 15 portfolio companies. So an extremely positive board there with a tremendous amount of experience. The next press release I'd like to share with you here is from June 23, 2025, and we can see here DevvStream signs carbon management agreement with energy efficient technologies, and this expands their pipeline with efficiency-based environmental assets and shared energy savings revenue. So in terms of the deal highlights, this is going to include 2 revenue streams, a new vertical which is going to add building efficiency assets to DevvStream's hydro, solar, waste to energy, carbon capture, and also the portfolio of projects and partners it's going to add to that. So there's also a large addressable market. We know that could be huge, and it could save the US $20 billion in power costs, and obviously we know there is a growing demand, especially across the world. So what I'd like to finish off with you is obviously share with you an important date for your diary, and that is obviously July the 29th, when we are expecting earnings. But I think the more important catalyst right now in the short term is the news on the $100 million catalyst. So keep an eye out on that, and keep an eye out on DEVS trading on the Nasdaq, and add that to your watch list. And finally, let's finish off by having a look at the latest updates for MMAT and MMTLP. So first shout out here is to Vendo, who stated with regard to MMAT metamaterials, thought this was not supposed to be trading, but if we have a look at the image shared there, up over 49,000% in one day. Bearing in mind that it's supposed to be a company going through liquidation. So KCAP has also posted a similar image, this time from StockTwits, and it's now displaying on StockTwits, tagging in Palikaros. On the bottom left hand side, we can see a 4,900% increase in the share price, so certainly something unusual there. Let's now move on to have a look at MMTLP, and from MetaHead we can see the history of how it's been recorded in the broker. Initially it was delisted, then it was at X market, then it was delisted on the OTC, and right now most recent one is NextBridge Hydrocarbons, now recorded as a private company by the broker. So that is certainly an interesting update. From Glassguy we can see a message from AI, and this is saying keep digging. So obviously we have had more redacted via emails, and we shared those in the previous video, but what we can see here in one of the examples of this FOIA release, if we have a look at this, the only thing that has been shared is the subject title, and that is investor not satisfied with FINRA ombudsman response on MMTLP, and nearly everything else has been blanked out. So the question is now is, who are they investigating, us or them? Monitoring the situation takes on a whole new meaning. So what was the reason for blanking out most of this? And obviously we are getting close to the 1,000 days without an update on this. And finally, if you would like to join us in the Discord, get a copy of our weekly watch list as well as a copy of the daily stock alerts. Details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.